Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. In today's episode, I want to continue the Valerie Tindall story. Now, here is what I found. Number one, I misspoke yesterday when I did this video. Media was sharing that she was found in a barrel. Well, we have a little more of an update on that now that the court documents, the charging documents, haven't been made public per se, but of course you know how media gets a hold of it sometimes, and so I want to share with you what we know after this has come out, along with updating my misspeaking. The man, Patrick Allen Scott, who is said to be the one who killed the 17-year-old Valerie Tindall, allegedly he confessed to cops that he strangled her and buried her body in a homemade box. That's what court documents are now revealing. You see, he's accused of doing the unthinkable to this young 17-year-old girl. Patrick Scott, 59 years old, he was arrested on November 28th as police had searched for Valerie Tindall, his teen neighbor who vanished on June 7th of this year. Now, Valerie, she had already been accepted to college. She had such a bright future, and she still had another year to go in school. She didn't even turn 18 because she turned 18 in August, so she would have turned 18. She was said to want to be a vet. You can see her here with a bunny. Obviously, she loves pets. You saw a picture with her and her dogs. Obviously, she loves pets. And that's why it's always heartbroken when anything like this happens, but the fact that it did happen, Valerie did not deserve this. Valerie, she had worked for Scott as an employee of his landscaping company over the summer. She's not been seen since June 7th. On November 29th, the Rush County, Indiana Sheriff's Department, they preliminary charged Scott with murder after investigators had found human remains on his property. Now, those remains have been identified as the 17-year-old Valerie. That's according to the Rush County, Indiana Sheriff Alan Rice. Now, the coroner, they had to make sure before they put her name out there, they had to make sure, but everyone knew. Everyone knew because he was the last person to be seen with her, even though he lied about it. At first, he said, no, I have not seen her since June 6th. Come to find out, thanks to an employee of another employee, said no, she was here that day. And so on November 29th, that's when they are preliminary charged Scott. But now it is official. Now, one thing that Sheriff Alan Rice said, this is not the outcome that we had all hoped for, but I want to stress to the public that this case is far from over. This is definitely far from over because there's so much that continues to come out. We don't know their relationship other than we do know she was close friends with his granddaughter, with the family. She went on vacation with them. You know, they did, her and him were on a card together, like a Christmas card, a holiday card. So they definitely had a relationship. If it wasn't a father-daughter type relationship, we don't officially know. Okay, there's more to this story because we are continuing to find out more about this. Now, court documents have revealed more about the investigators' gruesome discovery throughout this whole case. You see, during their search on November 28th, prior to Scott being taken into custody, authorities they had found 2 homemade boxes buried at his property. And so they, of course, are going to search. This is the picture of him and her on a greeting card, okay? Again, why wasn't it a whole family card? We don't know the extent of this. There's been a lot of online bullying towards her family, which is absolutely mind-boggling that anyone can be so freaking heartless during these worst times of a family. They need to keep their opinions to themselves and stick to the facts and not insert their stupid opinions. I am sorry to Valerie's family, who is dealing with some of the most silly nonsense a victim's family should ever deal with. But one thing that we do wonder is, what is the relationship between these two? I don't understand why there's a card of just them two. I don't understand that. If that was my daughter, I would be upset. And so they found these 2 homemade boxes buried. Now, we don't know what kind of relationship, because it seems like outside looking in, he was trying to be a father figure. One day she came home and the mom found out that she was on a phone line, like a family phone line of his, called like 360 or something like that. And the mom was like, why are you on his phone line? He's not your family. You don't have a relationship. And the way the mom described it, she didn't really get a full on answer, as in, what good reason could he have to put you, a teenager who is not his daughter, on there and not talk to me about that? That to me is strange. And so they did have messages, and that came from, was he tracking her phone? Again, there's going to be a lot of that's going to come out about this story, but that there was allegedly, was he tracking it? Or was it just that he had an additional line for her that he paid for, and that's why it looks that way? We don't really know. But one officer, when they got to the home and did the search, during that search on November 28th, this was prior to Scott being taken into custody. That's when they find the 2 homemade boxes that was buried at the property. On her hands. And I should have said this before I even dived into a little more of this. I better warn you, it gets very hard from here. What he admits to, allegedly he has admitted to all of this. He's come clean about what he's done and how he did it. So I'm going to tell you right now, this is very sensitive, what I'm about to share. So you have been warned whether you want to continue, because what he did to this teenager is beyond comprehensive. I don't understand how anyone, but that's not what this is about. So I'm sorry, I'm not trying to give my opinion on this stuff. But the nail color matched the hue that Valerie had on her nails in a photo that was posted to social media on June 7th. Again, the last day that she was seen alive. A second box found buried at the property, it had a bunch of VHS tapes and paperwork. We don't know yet what's on all of that paperwork. We don't know yet what is on those pictures. Patrick Scott, he was taken for questioning after this discovery. And while he was in custody, he admitted to killing the teenager. And he told police that he strangled Valerie with a belt that he continued to wear afterwards. He says, according to the court documents, I put it around her neck and I held onto it until she quit. That's what he is said to have told the police. This is according to the court documents that multiple media sources have said they've seen. Now, investigators, they later found records from June 8th, the day after she was last seen alive of Scott purchasing materials, including 2x4s and oriented strand boards to construct the boxes. That is what we call evidence. Scott, he allegedly told police that he bought the boards to make the box for Valerie's body. Before he built the box, the teen's body was in his office. That, again, is according to the court documents. And the Patrick Scott, he told cops that he wrapped the body in plastic, put it in the first box, and screwed it shut before putting it in a hole and covering it up. Rest in peace to this young girl who was taken from this world way too soon. And so after he screwed it up, that's before he putting it in a hole and covering it up. He said he used the second box to put SHIT in, and he added that to the hole in July of this year, of course. And then a silver alert went out. Valerie reportedly told her parents that she was going to work for Scott on June 7th. Again, at first, he denied that he sees her on June 7th until other witnesses say, yes, you were with her. Cell phone records indicated that her last known location was not far from his home. Indiana State Police then issue a silver alert for Valerie on June 10th. Scott reportedly started giving the police a bunch of inconsistent stories about the last time that he saw Valerie alive. He is said to have offered Valerie's parents support in the days following her disappearance, but he never did search for her. And so investigators, they searched his property on October 11th. They even used cadaver dogs to search the property. And you can even see the cadaver dog right here in this image. The cadaver dog indicated that a body was somewhere on the property. That was October 11th. So police, they decided to conduct a flyover of Scott's property on October 12th, and they did note multiple areas of obvious ground disturbance. And so then they get some search warrants for Patrick Scott's property that were requested on November 27th, leading to the gruesome discovery on November 28th, this week of this video. And so in an interview, Scott says to them that, he tells the cops that his wife and daughter don't know nothing. That's what he told the cops in reference to his wife and daughter. According to Valerie's mother, she says Patrick is responsible. She also throws in there maybe one or two other people could be involved, but she didn't throw any names or anything about that. And so here Scott is telling the cops, of course he probably would do this, wife and daughter don't know nothing. Those were the exact words about Valerie's murder. Now, I do believe him about the daughter. I kind of believe him about the wife, but I also know he's going to try to protect them, right? Why throw them under the bus? And so he told police that he and Valerie had shopped and gone out to eat together outside of their working relationship. He claimed that he didn't plan to kill the teen, and according to him, he insists that it just kind of happened. Valerie met Scott across from Shelbyville High School that June 7th. That's what he finally tells police when he's coming clean. Again, after the inconsistent stories. And so according to court documents, it shows that Scott drove Valerie back to his house, which neighbored the teens. It was basically like in her backyard. So when this gruesome discovery comes about, it's almost like it is found in their backyard. They've been looking all along for her since June, and they're putting posts out there. Anyone knows anything, please, please, please. Sisters are posting. Everyone's posting. Anyone who knows my sister, you see my sister, please. But then after a while, Valerie's mother starts changing it a little and says, hey, the last day my daughter was seen was with this man, Patrick Allen Scott. If you know anything that day that you remember seeing them together, please, 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 please report it. They started just asking for any type of help of anyone who saw them together. And so that's when, he drives her back to his home. The documents also claim that Scott thought Valerie was going to try to seduce him or blackmail him. Why would she have to blackmail him? That's what Scott is alleged to have told the cops according to documents. He claimed that Valerie was coming on to him and was trying to convince him to buy her a car. That's according to what he is telling the police. Again, he is capable of murdering. Can you really believe every single word that comes out of his mouth? So Scott then claimed that Valerie got carried away and began taking her clothes off. That's when Scott used his belt to strangle the teen. Now, I don't know about you, but I am struggling to believe that right there. I'm struggling to believe that. I do believe that he got carried away, he wanted more, and he did strangle her. That's my thought process. Again, you can hear what he's telling the police, and the police are gonna put it in the documents. It's just like a criminal who gets pulled over, like I'm watching OP Live, right? And the guy is like lying and lying to his teeth. You know he's lying. What can they go with? What he says, right? And so same thing here. They can only go by what they say, and then they got to try to prove him to be a lie. Again, he did confess, but now there's a lot more to this. Will he just plead guilty and not go to trial? We don't know. Only time will tell. But he says that he then uses the belt to strangle her. When asked if he was bothered that he killed the teen, he reportedly answered, "Well, I wasn't too crazy about it." That's what he said. Yesterday, he did appear in Rush County Circuit Court. He has also been charged with obstruction of justice and false informant. And he does remain behind bars without any bail. You know, my friends, it is stories like this that make this absolutely tragic. And that's why I want to be a voice for Valerie. I want to be a voice for the victims, because here we have her body was found just 100 yards after the cops stormed the home of the neighbor, Patrick Scott. And so here we have her human remains found. She didn't deserve this. My friends, if you are a person of prayer, if you are a person that just ask for peace, even if you are not a person of prayer, ask for peace for this family. Ask for peace for her. She didn't deserve this. I don't care what he is saying. Nothing in this world can say she deserved this. Nothing. My friends, I am Manny Rodriguez. This has been another episode of Deep True Crime. My friends, please be safe, be aware, be careful. It is a crazy world we live in. Until next time, my friends, peace.